Welcome back if you're returning. Well, if you're anything like me, you've had enough of this extreme winter. It's been so cold and so snowy. So join me as I thrift for spring, uncovering vintage fabrics and very charming finds. And I'm going to transform them into one-of-a-kind English country decor with a little decoupage, some creativity, and a love for all things time-worn and beautiful. I'll craft a space that feels like stepping into an English storybook. So let's welcome the new season with a little bit of creativity and a lot of second-hand charm. Now, if you stay tuned to the end of the video, I'm going to show you how I make the template for the wallpaper covering that I made for the lampshades. I've had quite a few requests how to do that, so that's going to be right at the end of the video. So let's get started. So let's begin with a thrift haul. I have picked up some pretty scarves. I thought these were nice fall colours, the first scarf, but this was lovely. I love the muted tones in there, and I'm going for mustards and these turquoisey colours. I'm going to be framing them, putting them on things to cover, so I'm going to try and incorporate them in my spring decor. This was a little plate that I found, a plastic plate. I really liked the shape of it, and I wanted to make a cake stand for the kitchen, and I'm going to be using these little cupcake holders. I saw them and I just thought, oh my goodness, they're perfect for what I had a great idea for them, so I'll show you that shortly. This little picture frame was $1. I know I'm going to be framing material in this, and I'm not sure if I'm going to decoupage the frame or paint it, but we'll see. I found these two lovely little decor pieces. I love the colours. This was my inspiration for my spring decor this year. The two pops of colours on these little candle rings are just gorgeous, so they will be coming up in my spring decor videos. This Easter egg was 50 cents, and I'm not making anything this week, but it's there going into my stash for my Easter decor. I'm not going to go mad this year with Easter decor or even the spring. I'm just going to change my colours and change a few things out. This was a box that I found a couple of weeks ago. I wanted to make it over to make a really nice Kleenex box cover that I can use around the house that doesn't look like a Kleenex box. I know it doesn't matter, it's a third world problem, but I just like to have a cover on my Kleenex boxes. These three little boxes were 50 cents, 50 cents and 75 cents. I just love that they stack, they go with inside each other. I love the colours of them and thought that I can either use them for decor as they stand or as risers or just like that. Just think they're really pretty. So those will be coming up in my spring decor. I've also picked up a couple of little items. I picked these up before Christmas and I put them in a bag. Recently found that bag. So this was $1, as you can see. I think I'm going to be spraying this gold. I might leave it silver because I think I might be changing from my coppers to silver for spring. This little cast iron doorstop, love it. We'll be using that around the house. I love doorstops. You don't see them very often anymore. And this was a little book that I found before Christmas. This is a leather bound book. It's a lovely old book from just the turn of the century. I think it's from 1918, printed in the UK, and it's from a Canadian author, so I just thought it was lovely. It's got a lovely, it's almost like a day-to-day thing through December, and it's got some lovely little rhymes and stories. It's such a lovely find, so I thought I'll show you that very quickly. Let's start with my whimsical dessert stand. So this was from my stash and it was a candle holder, and I thought what I'd like to do is stick these together to make something for my kitchen. I've been looking for a cake stand and I refused to pay $20 for a glass one, so this is perfect. You know, if it gets smashed, or it's not going to smash because it is plastic, so I thought what I would do is give it a coat of the Mod Podge, and then I'm going to open up these little circles that are the cupcake holders and just flatten them out. And as I'm pasting these down, you can see they're going completely flat on the surface, on the underneath surface of this little tray. And then when you turn this back round, you see the right side of the print, and it just looks so pretty. It's almost like it's a very country look, but it's almost gives you the feel of a toile. The black and white is perfect, like I said, for the kitchen. And all I'm going to do is overlap these all the way around, and you'll see at the end how pretty this turns out. So as you can see, it's mostly done. There's still a couple of little spots that aren't quite covered, even with the overlapping. So all I'm doing is I've taken the little cupcakes and I've cut them into quarters and halves, and then I'm filling in all the little areas, as you can see, that haven't got any cupcake paper on them. I'm just pasting them down and doing the same as I've done all the way around. And I'm going to complete this to the whole underneath of this little tray. And then once that's done, I'm going to be decoupaging the little stand that's going underneath also, so that it all, once it's stuck together, it's cohesive and it's all got the same prints, top and bottom. So the tray is now all covered. I've just taken a little piece of gold, added gold rub and buff all around the edge of the scalloped side of the little tray, and then I'm taking my hot glue gun. Now this is Gorilla Glue, so I find it works brilliantly well. You can use whatever glue that you want to use. It's like a ceramic candlestick that's sticking to plastic, and I found that this has, in the past, projects like this stick really well with that Gorilla Glue. And there we have my new plate stand for my kitchen. Just waiting for that to set up, but really pleased with how that's turned out, and it's the perfect addition to the kitchen. Now I'd also wanted to make a matching plant pot. These were the plant pots that I picked up in the summertime. I got a whole bunch of them for $1 each. So I'm taking the same idea. I'm going to decoupage them. I'm going to use various things on them, but I've taken the little cupcake papers and I'm doing exactly the same, overlapping them. I've decoupaged the plant pot first, then I'm laying the papers out and then decoupaging back over them and just overlapping them until it's all covered. And then I'm left with a really pretty little plant pot that, should I get sick of it, I just got to soak it and those papers will come off. And then this lovely little cookie or sweet tray that works perfectly in my kitchen. The colours are great and it's given it more of that lovely English country feel. Now this little box is a perfectly pretty little box, and some people might say don't paint it, don't change it, but it didn't suit my purpose, so I gave it one good coat of white chalk paint just to make sure I got complete coverage, so I had a clean space to start. Wasn't sure whether I was going to decoupage it or with fabric or tissue paper, so I didn't want any of the picture underneath to show through. So as I said, one good coat of the white chalk paint. And I decided to go with this lovely blue floral paper. Now I wanted to show you, I'm leaving this mistake that I made in. When you're using these tissue papers, depending on these napkins, they're usually 2-ply or 3-ply, so you take off the backing. Well, I'd taken off the backing, or so I thought, and as I started to lay it down on this little box, I noticed that there was another layer, so that was me taking the extra layer of this lovely napkin off. So I'm now just down to the top layer, and as you can see, I've centered it on the box so that I get a nice even print on the top and the sides. And then what I'll do is I'll patch the two ends with another piece of the napkin from another napkin. So it's just making sure everything's just smoothed down really carefully. Obviously cutting out for the actual opening for the Kleenexes, and then matching the patterns on the side as best I can, trimming it all down, giving it one good coat of Mod Podge, and we are ready for Kleenex. So I decided to use 3 of these plant pots, and I have used the fabric on 2 and the little cupcakes on 1. So you've obviously seen me do the cupcakes. Now I'm using fabric, and fabric is a little bit different to work with. With this particular one, I've cut pieces. So this is a scarf, and I've cut the roses out of the scarf. I have then Mod Podged the actual plants and the plant pot, and then I've laid the material down on top and then given it another coat of Mod Podge, and then this seals it all up. And then I've gone around and I've trimmed the excess material off, and I've done this twice with 2 different pieces of material. With this other one, I also took that same piece of material and put it in the picture frame, and this is a really pretty little set. And I'm going to put these obviously around the house for spring, and it instantly adds pops of colour, especially where there's none at the moment. So more decoupage, but this time again with fabric. I've never done small picture frames with decoupage fabric on them, so this was an old picture of my son when he was a baby, but I really do like the picture. It's just I'd like to brighten it up, and as I said, I'm bringing in lots of spring colours and lots of florals. So I'm painting out the dark frame, making it white, so I've got a nice clean blank canvas to add my decoupage to. This is the same scarf that I took the roses out for the previous plant pot, and as you can see, I'm cutting the border off, and I'm going to use that on the picture frame. So giving the picture frame a coat of the Mod Podge, and then I'm laying the fabric down and working it in with a good brush that is again pasted with the Mod Podge, and then just working the fabric into all the little nooks and crannies, and then I'm going to trim it off. Now with this one, I'm also going to add the same trim to the frame as to the mat as I've done with the frame, and I think you'll agree it's turned out really nice, and it's added a lovely touch of spring and in all the lovely spring colours and the florals. So I'm really pleased with how that's turned out. Now I'd had a cabinet that I had upcycled, and these were the inserts in the glass, and I love the shape of them, and I kept them because I knew I was going to do something with them. So what I decided to do was put some fabric behind them and make some panels for the living room. Again, this was another scarf that I got, and this was the kicking off point. I love these colours. I love the mustards and the reds and the pinks, and it's just a beautiful combination. So I've cut the scarf so that it fits the length, and I have these 2 panels, and all you can see I'm doing, I've put a bead of glue, and then as I'm going, I'm gathering the material and pressing it down on the glued area, stretching it out, and there I have 2 panels. Now I just put them up to display them, but I'm going to be adding these into my spring decor, and again, beautiful pop of colour that's cost less than $1. Absolutely love how these have turned out. If you've watched me for a while, you know that I've made tissue toile before. I saw that Julie Thrift has started doing it as well, and it's a really great idea. It's a great way to make your own toile, your own design. You can do it on tissue paper, you can do it on napkins. I've got a whole collection of different colour inks that I can use. So what you can do is, I'm going to be making some for Easter, but right now I've taken some white tissue paper and I'm just going to stamp it up with some spring animals. I've got birds, I've got bunnies, I've got sheep, I've got all sorts, and I'm going to be doing them in different colours and different patterns, mostly on the white tissue paper, just because that's what I've had most success with. And what I've done is I've adhered them with Mod Podge to my little artificial candles, and then I've printed them also. And as you can see here, I've double printed them. I've done them in a white and then over in the black ink, and it almost gives them a vintage printed look to them, like they'd come off a printing machine. I love how these have turned out, and I will be doing more for, as I said, my spring decor. I also have a whole bunch of the most beautiful silk scarves that I never wear, and I decided to start framing them, and those are going to be going up around the house for, again, adding splashes of colour for the new season. Let me know if you'd like me to include how-tos of the scarf framing and also the toile making in future videos. Now this has been by request. A couple of weeks ago I did the various lampshades, and I've had a few people ask me how I actually traced the lampshade on the paper. So this is the wallpaper that I've used in my kitchen, and I made the lampshade covers out of that. So what I've done here, I take the lampshade, and what you do is you find the back of the lampshade where the join is, and that's where you start. So I mark the top with a pencil and mark the bottom with a pencil, and then roll it. Do the same again, mark the top, mark the bottom, and roll it again. Top, bottom, and keep doing this all the way until you've reached full circle back where you started at the join. And then once that's done, you join all of your little lines together, and you should have a perfect template of your lampshade. So I'm going to show you here. It's a lovely look at the back of my head, my glasses and my ear, just in case you were wondering. So there we go. This is the template that I've traced, and then what I do is I cut that out, and then you can see you can cut it a little bit bigger. I usually do, but I've been doing this for a while now, so I know I've got a pretty good representation of the actual size. I've cut it a little bit bigger at the bottom, again, just to make sure that I've got enough that I can glue it and then cut it off. I don't usually tuck in the wallpaper because it's a little bit thicker. If I was making a fabric it would be different, but as you can see it fits perfectly. I've got a little bit extra at the top, a little bit extra at the bottom, and then of course this one I'm using the Mod Podge again, and I'm pasting the lampshade first, then I'm going to paste the wallpaper, and then I'm going to join them together, wait for it to dry, add a little bit of trim, and voila, I have 2 lampshades in the kitchen that match my wallpaper and complete my kitchen ensemble for my spring decor. So I hope that was helpful. I did have quite a few people ask how I actually did that. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not sure if I will be having a video next week. I'm having a birthday party next week, as it is my birthday. It's quite a big one this year, so probably won't have a lot to do. So don't think I'll have a video next week. I will have one the week after, obviously. So have a great week. Stay happy, healthy and safe, and I will see you very soon.